Hey guys, it's me, Jax, and I finished all of Netflix, and Disney Plus, and Nickelodeon, and Hulu, and all that stuff. Anyways, here are some of my favorites. There are so many shows that I love, so we're gonna break this up into 3 episodes. The one you're watching right now is the Nickelodeon episode.
Jackson TV.
Jackson TV. Jackson TV.
Jackson TV.
Jackson TV. Jackson TV. Jackson
TV.
Jackson TV. Jackson TV.
Jackson TV.
Jackson
TV.
Jackson TV. I love video games. My mom loves video games. My dad loves video games. But we all love different types of video games. I like video games like Minecraft. Mom likes Mario Kart. Dad likes sports games. And so we found something that we could all agree on. Shows and movies. Here's some of the shows that I watched. But they're not in any order. The first one we really got into was Big Time Rush, aka BTR. We still sometimes on Amazon Music and listen to some of their music. Now, I'm pretty sure you can get it on anything, probably the one you have right now. So, the kind of plot of Big Time Rush is, so basically there were some kids, I don't remember where they were from. They were trying to help this one friend become a singer with this big dude called Gustavo Rock, but they kind of messed up. They all became singers by accident and formed BTR, aka Big Time Rush. And then they go to California, where Gustavo Rock's thingy is for all his famous people. Well, that's where all the craziness starts. So while they tried to make their record, it was one of our favorites, and it was also the one that started us to get to watch shows. And after a while, we went back on Hulu and found some Big Time Rush movies. It's the only life you got, so you gotta live it big time. I love that show. Next up, School of Rock. If you watch the movie, it's basically the same idea. It's this dude, his band broke up, so he has no job, so he went to become a teacher. He found out that the class he's teaching, they're actually great. So he went from like classical and all that stuff that they played into a whole rock and roll band, and he tries to teach them to be a great band so that they can help him win the Battle of the Bands. Now, there's also this other team. It has one of the dudes from Big Time Rush. They aren't a good one. They're also in the Battle of the Bands. They're actually very mean. They actually tried to get one of the School of Rock students, and transfer him to their side. For a second, he was there. Luckily, so that's School of Rock. Hope you like it. Give it a chance and watch it. Next up, Drake and Josh. Now, there's something I noticed about Drake and Josh on every single Nickelodeon show. After Drake and Josh, somehow they end up leading and talking about Drake and Josh. On Victorious, Kat was trying to tell a story, and she ended up telling the story of this one episode of Drake and Josh where they're in this restaurant and they're trying to do sushi because they didn't have enough money. If you know why they referenced Drake and Josh, please let me know. I have no idea why. So the plot to Drake and Josh is so these two people's parents started seeing each other, and then next thing you know, they're married. And so they become stepbrothers. And so the whole shebang, and the best part and the funniest part is they have to like try and get along and actually be able to live together and end up actually kind of becoming best friends. Next up, iCarly. Basically, these two girls, Sam and Carly, wanted to make like a YouTube channel, except since YouTube is already like a real life thing, and usually they make like their own version. It wasn't YouTube, but it was like YouTube. I don't know what it was called though. So anyways, they made videos, and they called it iCarly because the main person in the whole show was Carly. There's this one girl, not girl, boy who loved both Sam and Carly. Yeah, he never got a date from either of them. And then Carly's brother, he was hilarious. He was my favorite part of the show. On the first one, his like elbow was out of place, so he just grabbed his elbow and then shoulder, and then slammed himself onto the floor, and he said, that's better. Viral videos are always funny. I love iCarly. Check it out. Next up, Victorious. So, this one girl named Tori, her sister was going to go to this huge crazy school for not famous people, but people who were going to be famous. Her sister's name, who was going to get in, was Trina. Now, things didn't come out right. She lost her voice or something. I don't know. It's been a long time. I finished it a while ago. Anyways, Tori took her place because of that, and she ended up going to the school. Yes, Trina still ended up in the school. And so Tori made a lot of friends. There was this one dude who had like a puppet. He was crazy about that thing. He loved it and at the same time hated it. You can tell because on one of the episodes, you find out that he's actually afraid of his puppet named Rex. You could actually kind of see why. He's like one of the characters. What's it? It's something like a gem. Jade! I said it's something like a gem because in China that's actually a gem that is actually supposedly very lucky. Wait, yeah, it's a gem. Anyways, she's a bully and so is he. Well, they're not bullies. They're kind of mean though. Not the dude who controls the puppets, the actual puppet. That's the funny thing. He makes Rex be mean to him. Who knows? You never know. And this one has the hilarious cat. There was this one crazy episode where you find out that she literally has no brain.
What?
Yeah, you see her, wait, was it her grandma? No, someone's grandma, like, she doesn't talk. She thinks she talks, but no, she doesn't. She yells. And so, on that episode, a butterfly flew into her ear, and, the one who, like, owned it, had to stick a banana in her ear to feed it, and her grandma yelled into the ear that the butterfly flew into. Somehow, poof, came out the other side. So that's how you know she has no brain. You couldn't do that if you had a brain. Which I really don't know anyone else without a brain. Anyways, you should be able to find their music as well on any of your streaming apps. Now, if you loved iCarly and you loved Victorious, you gotta love Sam and Cat. You see, the reason they come together is basically, what's her name, Cat? She, is at, like, a burrito. Nope, that's Sam, actually. Sam is the one who's getting a burrito, and she found a battery in her burrito and looked at a trash can. Cat was actually rescuing some kid's cat from a trash can and ended up going into a trash truck. So, after Sam saved her from the trash truck, Cat brought her home. Her best friend Carly from iCarly, she moved away, so she really had nowhere to stay, because that was kind of where she stayed. So they ended up living together. They would have guessed it. But if you don't find this funny, I don't think you have a case of humor then, because it is hilarious. Victorious was hilarious. Sam and Cat was hilarious. iCarly was hilarious. But when they come together, they're even more hilarious. So how could you not love it? Nikki, I have 4 words for you. Nikki, Ricky, Dickie, and Dom. Well, actually that's 5. Well, kind of 1 and 4 names. Anyways, it's about these 4 kids whose parents actually had them all on the same day. Now, they're all related, so that makes them quadruplets. You know what? I'm just gonna call them quads because they do call that sometimes. Anyways, they're constantly getting into fights, always getting in trouble, but it's fun to watch them get in trouble because the way they do it, it's awesome. And here is some 2 words. Game Shakers. Yes, a very good movie. Show. It's a show, not a movie. I get them mixed up all the time. This is not my first time. Anyways, basically, these 2 girls, Babe and Kenzie, they were, having a class project. Now, they kind of failed because they were doing it to be like something that helps humanity, but they ended up turning it into something that, interests humanity. They became Game Shakers. They formed a whole game company, and it all started with 1 game. 1 game! The name of the game is Sky Whale. It's like not a narwhal. What's a narwhal? Narwhal, bouncing on clouds, and if you hit the water, you're frozen. Game over. So anyways, all from just that 1 game, they became rich. Yes, in like a day, probably under a day, they became the top game, and they were rich. So anyways, without them even knowing, poof, it turns out they were using a famous rapper's song. Well, they knew they were using it, but they didn't know they were supposed to pay him. And so they never paid him. But when he found out he wasn't getting paid for the Sky Whale thingy, he was mad. And his name is Double G. Now his son, Triple G, he wanted to hang out with kids his own age. But he was constantly on tour. Trip is the kid one. Double G was like, hang out with Bunny. He may be a man, but he's like a kid. And so, once they got there to steal all of their stuff, because they kind of deserved it, because technically they should be being paid. So Kinsey had this one thingy that he used to have. I think it was called a blue bit. But anyways, he used to have one when he was young, but he was constantly playing with it when he was young. His dad hated it. And so his dad took it away, and he said, "I'm being like my dad." Once she told him that after he told her that. So anyways, Trip ended up getting a job with Game Shakers. So he gave all their stuff back. One, because Trip was with them. Two, she had a blue bit, and he became an investor. So there's Kinsey, Babe, Trip, and Hudson. By the way, Trip's got nothing up here. I would say Hudson, I would say his brain average is the same as Cat's, which, if you remembered what I said about Cat on Victorious, butterfly flew through her head. That means no brain. So that's Game Shakers for you. Drop that, 'cause I can't get enough. Wanna drop that, baby, better pick it up. Drop that. Game Shakers, baby! Welcome to the Nick superhero universe, starting with the Thundermans. Who are the Thundermans? They are a family of superheroes who moved to keep their secret identities a secret. 'Cause someone found out. They're a family of superheroes. Well, not all of them want to be heroes. One of them, for some reason, wants to be a supervillain. Ooh. Now, this may sound crazy, but he has an evil bunny rabbit too. But he and his evil bunny rabbit are constantly trying to make up ways to take over the world. But you know how movies work. They never get it right. That's the Thundermans. Hope you guys watch it. Continuing with the superheroes. Now it's Henry Danger and Captain Man. Now, the way they met, I'm pretty sure they met they were related, and Captain Man brought Henry to his lab not lab thingy, and said, "I'm Captain Danger." I just combined their names. I was about to say I'm Henry Danger. I am Captain Man. Why is that so hard to say? And so anyways, he got him to be a sidekick or something. So one of the cool ways they change into their costumes is they blow a bubble to get into their costumes and fight crime. And one hilarious part, I was about to say funny, they have to say, "Up the tube," to go up a tube and get out of the base. He said it, and then once he came up, his boot fell off. I almost said his boot fall off. That's not correct English. So anyways, his boot fell off, and he said, "Ah, my shoe!" Wait, no, he said, "Ah, my boot." Why would he say, "Ah, my shoe"? It's a boot, not a shoe. I think the way Henry got his, I almost said shoe again, boot back, is he said, "Up the tube" again, and his shoe went flying up. I think they did a cutscene. Yeah, that seems right. Now, if we're talking about Henry Danger, we gotta introduce you to the new show, Danger Force. So the way it all happened was on the last episode of Henry Danger. There were villains all around them. They were surrounded. It wasn't looking good for them. But Henry, he decided to use some ray thingy to blast all of them away. But sadly, it cost him all of his powers. So the machine absorbed all of his powers. He destroyed all the bad guys with it, luckily. But at the same time, new heroes were born in a fate of a great hero. That's when Danger Force happened. You see, the kids who are now Danger Force, they happen to be in that exact situation in that place. But the blast must have hit them somehow. And they ended up getting their powers. I've watched all of them up until now, so hopefully you can watch it with me on Nickelodeon. There should be another one coming out either this Sunday or Saturday. So pretty soon. Now we're getting into some ghost ones, kind of. Anyways, now we're getting into The Haunted Hathaways. A very good show. I watched it all. Anyways, it starts out with 3 people. All girls, but they're all related. There's the mom and 2 daughters. One's older, gets frightened very easily by ghosts. And younger one, Frankie, nothing scares her. So anyways, they were moving, and in their house that they were moving into were 3 ghosts. All boys. A dad, an old son who hates scaring, and a son who loves scaring. Now, that's what the dad and the son have in common. I don't really know anything that the ghost who doesn't like scaring has in common with his dad. Anyways, so they're meant to scare them, but they end up not, because they were getting this one person to get rid of them, but they couldn't do it. They just decided not to. They changed their minds. They thought it was too sad. So the ghosts and the human became friends. I said human. I was supposed to say humans. I said it with no S, but it was meant to be with an S. Anyways, they weren't really supposed to. Not all humans and ghosts were like that. They were like the only ones. In the ghost world, it was actually illegal. So they became kind of a ghostly Brady Bunch. It's about ghosts, but it's not very scary. It's funny and cool and all of that stuff. It's straight up awesome. So watch The Haunted Hathaways. Now, moving on to The Bureau of Magical Things. Now, we just got finished watching this one. It was very cool. It's about a girl who stumbles upon this magical place. One day, she sees a book floating while she's on a midnight stroll, and she touches it. Nothing ever good comes from touching a floating book. So she was knocked out. When she woke up, she was in a room. It was weird. She was in a forest. Well, forest, not forest. When she woke up, there was some girl in her room. She was like, "Get the heck out of here." It turned out it was a fairy. And she ended up going to that magical place I told you about earlier. It was like a library, and it turns out it was like a school for magical beings, elves and fairies. They were like the only magical beings, unless you count like the evil thingies that stroll around that they have to like defeat to like save the world from magic, because humans can't know that magic is real. Now, it turns out when she touched the book, she got powers, not only from the fairies, not only from the elves, but from both. I liked it. I hope you like it too. The Bureau of Magical Things. It's a very new show. It's Side Hustle. You see, these kids, they got fireworks that are extremely dangerous. They are illegal in every country. And guess what? The principal of their school got it from kids who happened to have it. Their son just took it from a bag that said, "Do not touch." And the real smart girl, she was like, "No, let's not do it." And it said, "Pressure activated." The not so smart one who kind of likes living on the edge, she read it and it says, "Pressure activated." And she said, "Oh, so we have to pressure it." And she was like, "Light up! You never light up! You are so dumb!" Yelling at the firework piece, and it was hilarious. And she was like, "No, that's not how you do it. You see, pressure activated means if you squeeze it, it goes off." And she said, "This is why I don't like explaining things, because while she was explaining it, she was also doing it. Yet she was against doing it. It ended up hitting the principal's car. And it was, what? I mean, not car, boat. And the funny part is, it was kind of his own son's fault. Actually, it was his own son's fault, because he is the one who brought the fireworks. And so it blew up once he, squeezed it. And to pay back for the boat, they had to get a side job. So they made an app called Kidding. And I know it sounds like a funny name, like Just Kidding, but it's like it's called Kidding because they get a job, and because they're kids, every time they get like a thingy, like an alert that they have a job to do, they get a kidding. And that's why it's called Kidding. So they have to get all these odd jobs to pay the principal back. So watch new episodes with me on Nickelodeon. It's called Side Hustle. If you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to keep on getting notifications from my new videos, don't forget to ring that bell.